The red light above the camera blinked on, and the familiar theme music of Lorraine flowed through the studio like a warm greeting. The audience applauded on cue, some clutching mugs of tea, others leaning forward with the quiet excitement of a live broadcast. Lorraine Kelly sat poised in her chair, her smile practiced but genuine, eyes bright as she turned toward her guest. Julie Walters sat opposite her, hands folded neatly in her lap. To most of Britain, Julie was a national treasure, an actress whose warmth, humor, and steel-spined performances had carried generations of films and plays. Today, she wore a deep blue jacket, understated jewelry, and an expression that hovered between polite anticipation and guarded resolve. "Julie, it's so lovely to have you here," Lorraine began, her Scottish lilt wrapping the words in familiarity. "You've had an extraordinary career, and now you're back with a new project that everyone's talking about." Julie smiled, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. "Thank you, Lorraine. It's nice to be here." The first few minutes unfolded smoothly. They spoke about Julie's early days in theater, her breakthrough roles, the way she still felt nervous before stepping onto a set. The audience laughed at her dry wit. Lorraine nodded along, clearly enjoying the exchange. Everything appeared exactly as it should be, two seasoned professionals sharing a comfortable conversation over morning television. But beneath the polished surface, tension stirred. As the discussion shifted toward the new drama series Julie was promoting, Lorraine glanced at her cue cards. "The show touches on some very topical issues," she said carefully. "Aging in the industry, women being written off, that sort of thing." Julie's posture straightened. "It does," she replied. "And it does so honestly, without dressing it up or pretending it's not happening." Lorraine smiled again, but this time there was a flicker, something sharper behind her eyes. "Some critics have said the series feels a bit angry," she continued. "Almost like it's taking aim at the industry rather than telling a story." A ripple moved through the audience. Julie paused, her fingers tightening together. "Well," she said slowly, "women speaking honestly about their experiences are often labeled angry. That doesn't mean the message is wrong." Lorraine let out a small laugh. "Of course. But do you think there's a danger of alienating viewers when it feels so confrontational?" Julie turned fully toward her now. "Confrontational to whom?" she asked. "People who are comfortable with the status quo." The studio seemed to grow quieter, the laughter fading into an uneasy stillness. Lorraine shifted in her seat. "I'm just playing devil's advocate," she said. "Morning television is about balance, after all." "Balance is important," Julie replied, her voice calm but firm. "But so is truth. And sometimes the truth makes people uncomfortable." The director gestured frantically off camera, signaling Lorraine to steer the conversation back to safer ground. Lorraine nodded subtly and tried to soften her tone. "You've always been very outspoken, Julie. That's part of why people love you." Julie raised an eyebrow. "Is it?" Lorraine hesitated. "Well, yes. Though some might say you've become more political in recent years." Julie exhaled sharply. "I've become more honest," she said. "There's a difference." The audience murmured, sensing the shift from friendly chat to something far more combustible. Lorraine glanced again at her cards, then back at Julie. "You've criticized television itself before, formats, producers, even presenters," she said lightly. "Do you think shows like this still have a place?" Julie smiled, but there was no humor in it. "That depends on whether they're willing to listen," she said. "Or whether they'd rather keep things pleasant and unchallenging." The words hung in the air, unmistakably pointed. Lorraine's smile stiffened. "Are you suggesting we don't listen?" "I'm suggesting," Julie replied, "that difficult conversations often get smoothed over on shows like this. And when someone refuses to play along, they're framed as the problem." A sharp intake of breath rippled through the front row. Lorraine's cheeks flushed slightly. "I think that's a bit unfair," she said. "We give everyone a voice here." Julie leaned forward. "Within limits," she said quietly. "Within what's comfortable for a morning audience." For a moment, neither woman spoke. The cameras rolled, the red light unblinking, capturing every micro-expression. Lorraine's producer could be seen at the edge of the set, whispering urgently into a headset. "Julie," Lorraine said at last, her tone cooling, "this is meant to be a friendly conversation. I don't think it's appropriate to criticize the show while you're on it." Julie laughed softly, incredulously. "That's exactly what I mean," she said. The moment things get real, suddenly it's inappropriate. Lorraine straightened. I won't have the show portrayed as something it's not, she said, her voice firm now. We're here to entertain and inform, not to be lectured. And I won't pretend everything's fine just to keep the mood light, Julie shot back. The director's voice crackled through Lorraine's earpiece. Wrap it up. Now. Lorraine forced a breath, her smile returning in a strained imitation of warmth. I think we'll leave it there, she said. Julie Walters, everyone. The applause that followed was scattered and uncertain. Julie rose from her chair, but instead of turning toward the audience, she looked directly at Lorraine. This is exactly the problem, she said, not raising her voice but ensuring every word carried. You invite honesty, then punish it when it doesn't suit you. Lorraine stood as well. Julie, please. But Julie had already unclipped her microphone. The soft snap echoed louder than it should have. She placed it carefully on the table between them, a deliberate, symbolic gesture. I'm done playing nice, she said. Gasps erupted across the studio. The cameras cut abruptly to a wide shot, then to Lorraine alone, standing rigid as Julie walked off the set. From the control room, someone muttered, cut to ads. As the screen faded to commercial, one thing was clear: what had just happened was not going to stay confined to the studio walls. Outside, social media was already igniting. And inside, Lorraine Kelly stared at the empty chair opposite her, realizing that the morning had just taken a turn no one would forget. The moment the cameras stopped rolling, the studio erupted into controlled chaos. A floor manager rushed toward the stage, whispering urgently into a headset. Technicians avoided eye contact. The audience, unsure whether to applaud or sit in stunned silence, slowly filed out, buzzing with half-formed opinions and shock. What had just unfolded felt less like a TV interview and more like a public rupture. Backstage, Julie Walters moved with surprising calm. Her heels clicked sharply against the corridor floor as a runner tried, and failed, to keep pace with her. Julie, please, the young assistant said breathlessly. Can we just talk for a second? Julie stopped and turned. Her expression wasn't angry now, it was tired. I've said everything I needed to say, she replied. On air, where it actually matters. Behind her, raised voices echoed from the production office. Lorraine Kelly stood near the makeup mirrors, arms folded, jaw tight. Her producer, Mark, paced in front of her. That was completely out of line, he snapped. She ambushed you. Lorraine shook her head slowly. No, she didn't ambush me, she said. She came ready for a fight. And you gave her a platform, Mark shot back. Do you know what Twitter's doing right now? As if on cue, Lorraine's phone vibrated non-stop on the counter. Mentions. Clips. Headlines already forming in real time. Julie Walters storms off Lorraine after on-air clash. Awkward TV moment leaves audience stunned. WHO was right. Britain divided after live show explosion. Lorraine exhaled slowly and rubbed her temples. I was doing my job, she said. Asking questions. Yes, but she turned it into a lecture, Mark replied. Morning TV isn't the place for that. Lorraine looked up sharply. And who decides that? Mark paused. Meanwhile, Julie reached the exit of the building. Outside, a small cluster of reporters had already gathered, faster than anyone expected. Someone called her name. Julie. Was that planned? Do you regret walking off? Were you kicked off the show? Julie stopped just short of the door. For a moment, it looked like she might ignore them. Then she turned back. No, she said clearly. I wasn't kicked off. I left. The reporters leaned in. I was invited to speak honestly, Julie continued. I did exactly that. If honesty is uncomfortable, maybe that's worth examining. A reporter shouted, was Lorraine silencing you? Julie considered the question. I don't think Lorraine is the villain here, she said. But I do think the system rewards politeness over truth. And I'm not interested in pretending anymore. With that, she walked out into the gray London morning. Within hours, the clip went viral. Some viewers applauded Julie's courage, calling her a voice for women who had been dismissed for decades. Others accused her of disrespect, of hijacking a light-hearted show for her own agenda. Hashtags trended. Opinion columns appeared before lunchtime. Inside ITV, emergency meetings were called. Lorraine sat at a long glass table with executives, the paused image of Julie unclipping her microphone frozen on a screen behind them. This isn't just a viral moment, one executive said. It's a narrative. Either we control it, or it controls us. And how do you suggest we control it? Lorraine asked quietly. An apology, another executive replied. From you. Public. Calm. Professional. Lorraine looked up, incredulous. For what? Asking questions. For escalating the situation, the executive said. For not de-escalating. Lorraine stood. She wasn't angry because of me, she said. She was angry because she's spent a lifetime being told when and how she's allowed to speak. The room fell silent. That evening, Lorraine went home and turned on the television. Every channel seemed to be talking about the same thing. Pundits argued. Panels debated. Julie Walters' name scrolled endlessly across the screen. Her phone buzzed again, this time with a message from an unknown number. Didn't mean to blow up your morning. But I meant every word. Julie. Lorraine stared at the message for a long time before replying. So did I. The next morning, Lorraine returned to the studio. The audience sensed it immediately, something had changed. She didn't smile as brightly. She didn't joke as easily. Near the end of the show, she put her cue cards down. Yesterday, she said, looking straight into the camera, something unexpected happened on this program. And while not everyone will agree with how it unfolded, I want to say this. Conversations that challenge us are not always comfortable, but they are necessary. Social media exploded again, this time in a different way. Some called it brave, others called it damage control. Julie watched the clip from her kitchen table, tea growing cold beside her. She didn't smile, but she nodded. The confrontation hadn't ended careers. It hadn't destroyed reputations. But it had cracked something open. And in British television, where everything was usually wrapped in charm and careful smiles, that crack felt dangerously close to change.